Thank you. This is needed. The microphone?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, folks, how we doing? Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, I just need a few seconds, if that's okay, so I can connect. I have something special to share with you. RJ, where were you like 10 years ago? Because everything you said, I'm just like, yep. That was rough, man. The creditors would definitely help too. Yeah, they would definitely appreciate you. Hi, everybody. Good morning. My name is Wilson Kowaleski. Wilson, yes, like the volleyball. And I'm going to try to be as quickly as possible here. I do have a few things to say. If I do have to slow down, I will try my best. So first off, we do know that we have a veteran in the room. Any other veterans? Guys, thank you very much. Please, round of applause for the veterans. Time, effort, energy. If you see a veteran with a hat on, I always make it my thing to make sure to thank them because it's important. So thank you guys for that. Thank you again to 1 Million Cups. Also my other half, Patty Serenano, where is she? Right over there. If it wasn't for her, I'd probably be Magic Miking down in Miami. Thank you for that. And everybody, 1 Million Cups, thank you guys. So real quick, let's get started. I am going to make sure that we are connected.
Kevin Lowe, born and raised here in Ormond Beach, and basically just wanted to share with you today my life stories that I think can be something of inspiration to other people and hopefully help some people out no matter what's going on in your life. So when I was 17 years old, junior in high school, I got the news that I had a brain tumor. I had lived a pretty much normal life while growing up as a kid. Grew up racing motocross, spent time at the beach. 16, had a big four-wheel drive truck. So it was a big blow to find out that I had a brain tumor. But all was good. The plan was I'd go into surgery. I'd have the brain tumor removed. I'd be back to school in 2 to 3 weeks. Everything would be good. As my luck would have it, I went into surgery October 28th, 2003, and I awoke from surgery completely blind.
All right, so that is my buddy Kevin, and as you can tell now, he is blind. So initially he went in for surgery, he had a tumor, came out, obviously was not able to see afterwards. So kind of impactful if you can kind of put yourself in that position for 1 second and see how you would be able to deal with that. It's crazy, it's insane. So moving forward real quick, what I like to do is I like to provide points of perspective for people. And I feel perspective is important because that's when you get your aha moments, and from your aha moments you get progression, and basically you start answering the questions that you need to figure out. So real quick, life is simple. I'm going to give you 3 points of perspective, and I'm going to try to hit them really quick. Life is simple, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to show you why. Life equals time, effort, and energy. Everything we do in our 24 hours a day, and everything that we do for the last year is time, effort, and energy. Now, if we break that down even more, a little bit more, time and effort is what? It is just energy. So we can understand that life equals energy. And we also know, right, over there, we do a lot of higher education stuff here. The first law of energy of thermodynamics, energy cannot be created or destroyed within a closed system. It can only be transferred or converted from one form to another. So if we accept that as reality, as a part of the law of physics, then we should understand that as well in terms of what we can do. We have a lot of negative stuff coming into our lives, whether it's loss, whether it's energy, but it converts back into energy. Ultimately, it's what it is. So if we know that we can't destroy it or create it, we can convert it, then it should be the same with every vertical that we have within our lives. Figure out a way to create that negative energy into a positive, something like Kevin does every day. Which, by the way, he's a travel agent, and his full story is going to be coming out soon, so take a look at that. Next thing is time. So time is constant and absolute. What are the measurements of time that we use? Okay. Hours, minutes, days, correct. So how many hours in a day? 24. How many days in a year? 365. All right, so I have 2 numbers up there, 79 and 81. 79 and 81. I'm going to give you a guess whose life expectancy is who? Who's 79? The man. Who's 81? Yeah, you know why Patty says that's because is the men really going to bury themselves? I like to say it's just we have to deal with you. Yeah, it goes hand in hand. It's 50-50. But back to the math. Real quick, take that equation up there, 24. Put your number in, and then multiply by 36. At the end of the presentation, I'd love to hear some feedback in terms of how many hours you have left. But if you are 79 years old or 81 for females, that is the years that initially science is telling us that you have left here on Earth. Not a lot. The next point of perspective is your life. Your life is your decisions over time. If you think of it prospectively, everything that you decide to do is either an action or an inaction, and that action over time, which is your 24 hours, 365 times 79, 81. Hopefully if you do yoga or eat healthy, that increases. But it literally is your life, it's your decisions over time. And so the next question would be then, what creates our decisions, or what influences our decisions? And here's a map to break things down. Influences create or affect thoughts, then those thoughts create or affect emotion, and those emotions then come to a decision. That's called a decision point, where we either do something or don't do something. We either call RJ or we don't call RJs, as an example. Based on that, that becomes an action. That action then creates an outcome, and that outcome then becomes your reality in this very moment, or in that very place. Does that make sense? It's like, wow, this guy's got good hair and good thoughts. Next thing is actions. So ultimately, every action that you create, it becomes a reality that we have. That is why you are who you are, I am who I am, and we are where we are. Does that make sense? Great. So now some of the things to understand, in every part of our lives, whatever it's yours or mine, there are verticals. And most of those verticals we share. Right? We want to become successful. We want to be successful in our life, relationships, business, etc., etc. The three main things that are important to understand is that you need this tracking, consistency, and support in whatever vertical to make sure that you create the change that you want to get the outcome, or create the decisions, and then create the actions, and then create the outcome to what you want. Because there's a lot, I'm sure everybody in here, there's things that you want to be doing or that you know you should be doing, but the question is, why aren't we doing them? Right? Cool. Tracking, consistency, and support. So based on that, and meeting individuals like Kevin, which obviously is very inspirational, and anybody I meet, obviously, everyone has their own story, and everybody's got their thing they're working on. So meeting individuals like that, and having the love for people, and as well as understanding that these are the things that you need in terms of actually increasing the success of change that you want, it's where nothing changes until you do came. Back in 2010, I started a clothing line, Xanity Clothing. But nothing changes until you do. After I read a Tony Robbins book, was a line that I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. And luckily I trademarked it. So I trademarked it, and I had it on t-shirts, but it wasn't really, I put it on the shelf. It wasn't really making sense. Not until this past year when it all started clicking, and I met people like that. It's like, well, what we want to do is we want to share the community, connect the community, and share inspirational stories of extraordinary change, then to help, to educate, motivate, inspire change in other people. And the change starts with you, then it's local, then it's state, then it's national, then the whole world, right? So that's ultimately the goal, is to get these stories out to people to help them, inspire them, and educate them in whatever they may need. Our ask. So our asks are these: share, support, sign up, and connect. And literally, it's like, well, how are you going to make money on this, Wilson? It's crazy. What are you doing? Same thing, right? Right now, what we do, like there are other places, there are other avenues that I make money right now in terms of photography, film, but all of those arts and all those skills are actually used for what I do. So we create the website, we create the content, we're on the platforms, and ultimately sharing these stories, coming up with tracking. We're working with companies like My24, which is has the same thought, but it's focused on nutrition and exercise. So if somebody is looking to change that vertical of their lives, NCUID is going to have a story that we share of somebody that has done it, right? Because I'm sure you've been on Instagram and seen a lot of these Transformation Tuesday images where somebody is overweight by 300 pounds, and then a week later, or not a week later, but maybe 365 days later, they've gone through some transformation. So being able to share these stories, and then figuring out what points of awareness did they come into, and what did they use to help that change. Because everybody's different, and how we learn or how we associate things is different for everybody. However, we still want the same thing. We want to be successful. We want to see that change within that vertical. And that's all we're doing, is really just sharing the stories, sharing the skills, and then sharing the tools to be able to do that for individuals through NCUID. Lastly, real quick, it's not the knowledge that we acquire, it's the knowledge and how we implement. And that's what we want to share with everybody as well. So thank you very much. My name is Wilson Kowaleski. Another change to you do.